If you are over 65, stop for a moment and pay close attention, because what you are about to hear goes against what most people believe, but it is something doctors, physiotherapists, and mobility experts have known for years. Walking is good, it is healthy, it is important, but it is not enough to keep your legs strong as you age. And this may sound strange, because for a long time people were told that walking every day was enough. But if that were true, millions of people who walk daily would not struggle to climb stairs. They would not struggle to stand up from a chair. They would not feel their legs shaking when standing. And they would not lose balance when stepping on uneven ground. But reality is different, this happens every day. Healthcare professionals see this constantly, people who walk, sometimes long distances, yet still lose strength. And this happens because walking activates only part of the leg muscles. It does not work the muscles that weaken the fastest with aging. And that is exactly why many people keep walking but continue getting weaker. Now imagine learning simple exercises that actually activate those forgotten muscles. Movements that are safe, effective, and designed specifically for people over 65. That is exactly what you are about to discover. Now there is something you need to understand clearly, the problem is not walking, the problem is believing that walking alone solves everything. Because when you believe that, you stop working on exactly what needs to be strengthened the most. And this creates a false sense of security. You feel like you are doing the right thing, but your body continues weakening silently. Now think for a moment, how many people you have seen who walk every day, yet still struggle to stand up or climb stairs? This is not a coincidence, this is a lack of specific stimulation. And here is the most important point, aging is not just the passing of time, it is the loss of stimulation. When you stop challenging your muscles, they stop responding. And when they stop responding, you begin to lose strength, balance, and control. Now there is a direct consequence of this, an increased risk of falls. And it is not just the fall itself, it is what comes after it. Slower recovery, loss of independence, and often dependence on others. But here is the good news, this can be avoided. And more than that, it can be reversed. And it all starts with something very simple, giving your body the right stimuli. Now imagine not just walking, but truly strengthening your legs. Imagine feeling more stability when standing, more confidence when walking, and more control in every movement. That is exactly what you are about to start building now. There is a moment when everything changes, it is not when you learn something new, it is when you start seeing what you already do in a different way. And that is exactly what is happening here, you are not going to stop walking, you are going to understand that you need to do more than that. Because walking is still important, but now you know it does not solve the full problem. And this small shift in understanding can completely transform your future. Now think about this, your body is not failing, it is simply not being stimulated the right way. And when you give your body the right stimulus, it responds. It does not matter if you are 65, 70, 80 or older. Your body still has the ability to adapt. It still has the ability to gain strength. And it still has the ability to recover functions you thought were lost. Now there is an important question you need to answer for yourself. Will you continue doing only the basics and expect different results? Or will you start applying what truly works? Because from this point on, you are no longer lacking information. Now you know exactly what is missing. And the next step is simple, start. There is a detail that many people only notice when they are already facing real difficulties. The body always gives signs before losing its ability, but these signs are subtle. You start using your hands to stand up, you begin avoiding stairs, you start walking more carefully without even realizing it. And at first, this seems normal, it feels like just part of aging. But here is the point that changes everything, this is not just aging, this is loss of strength. And when you understand this, you realize you do not have to accept this process passively. You can act, you can strengthen, you can recover. Now imagine what it would feel like to have stability when walking, confidence when climbing a step, and strength when standing up. This is not something distant, it is a direct result of the right stimuli. And it all starts with a simple decision, stop ignoring the signs and start acting. Now there is something you need to remember, your physical future is being defined by the small actions you take today. Every choice matters, every movement matters, and every day makes a difference. Now you are about to see the first exercise that can completely change your leg strength. And I need you to pay attention, because this movement is used by doctors to evaluate something very important, your independence. And from here on, it is no longer about theory, it is about practice. Now we arrive at the first movement, and perhaps the most important of all, because it reveals something few people notice until it is too late, your true level of independence. There is a simple test that doctors and physiotherapists use to quickly assess the condition of someone over 65. They ask for just one thing, to stand up from a chair without using the hands. It may seem simple, but this single movement shows almost everything. Leg strength, balance, mobility, coordination, and even fall risk. And here is the most important point: if this movement feels difficult, your body is already giving you a clear signal. Because standing up from a chair is not just an exercise, it is one of the most used movements in your daily life. You do this when getting out of bed, standing from the sofa, or getting out of a car. And when this movement starts to fail, everything begins to get harder. Now imagine strengthening exactly this movement pattern. Instead of just walking, you begin training what truly maintains your independence. Now let's move to execution, because this is where everything changes. Sit on a firm chair with your feet shoulder width apart. Lean your body slightly forward. Now push through your feet and stand up without using your hands. Then slowly lower yourself down, controlling the movement until you sit again. This control during the descent is just as important as the rise. Now get ready, because the continuation will show how to progress this movement and accelerate your results. Now there is something that transforms this simple exercise into one of the most powerful you can do: progression. Because in the beginning, just standing up may already be a challenge. But over time, this movement can become much stronger and more efficient. And this progression is what will restore your confidence in movement. Now let's talk about how to progress, because this is what makes the difference. At first, if needed, you can lightly use your hands for support. And that is not weakness, that is smart adaptation. Over time, try to reduce that support until you no longer need it. Another way to progress is to increase the number of repetitions. Start with 8 to 10 and gradually increase. Now let's talk about mistakes, because they can limit your results. The first mistake is using momentum to stand up. This reduces leg engagement and decreases the benefit of the exercise. Another common mistake is lowering too quickly. The controlled descent is where much of the benefit happens. Now imagine doing this movement correctly every day. Standing up becomes easier, your body responds better, and your confidence increases. And this directly reflects on your independence. Now get ready, because the next exercise will work something essential that many people forget: the calves. Now we arrive at a muscle that almost no one pays attention to, but that can be decisive for your mobility, balance, and safety: the calf. While many people focus only on thighs and hips, there is a region that works silently in every step you take. And this region has an extremely important function: helping pump blood back to the heart. That is why it is known as the body's second heart. Now imagine what happens when this muscle becomes weak. Circulation worsens, legs feel heavier, and balance begins to fail. And most importantly, the risk of falls increases significantly. Now there is something few people know: after age 65, the calf is one of the muscles that loses strength the fastest. And walking is not enough to prevent it. Because during walking, you use only a small portion of this muscle's capacity. Now imagine activating this muscle fully. Strengthening deeply every fiber responsible for balance and stability. That is exactly what the calf raise does. Now let's move to execution, because this is where the exercise transforms. Stand near a wall or chair for support. Now slowly lift your heels, rising onto your toes. Rise as high as you can, feeling the contraction in your calves. Hold for 1 second at the top. Then slowly lower down, controlling the movement. And here is the secret: rise with control and lower even slower. Now get ready, because the continuation will show how to progress this exercise and increase your results even more. Now there is something that transforms this simple exercise into one of the most powerful for your legs: how you progress with it over time. Because at the beginning, lifting your heels may seem easy, but when done correctly, it deeply activates the muscles. And it is exactly this activation that generates results. One of the most effective ways to progress is increasing time under tension. Rise in 2 seconds and lower in 4 seconds. This makes the muscle work harder and strengthen faster. Another way to progress is performing the exercise on one leg. This significantly increases intensity. Now let's talk about mistakes, because they can limit your progress. The first mistake is performing the movement too quickly. Without control, the muscle is not properly activated. Another common mistake is not rising fully. The greater the range of motion, the better the result. Now imagine the impact of this in your daily life. Your steps become more stable, your balance improves, and your confidence increases. And this significantly reduces the risk of falls. Now get ready, because the next exercise will work something essential that walking cannot, lifting your legs with strength. Now we arrive at a movement that many people do every day, but incompletely, lifting the leg. It may seem simple, but this movement is responsible for something extremely important, your ability to walk safely. Because every time you take a step, you need to lift your foot off the ground. And when this ability starts to fail, the first problems appear. Steps become shorter, slower, and less stable. And many people begin dragging their feet without realizing it. Now imagine walking like that on uneven ground. A small obstacle can be enough to cause a fall. And this happens because the muscles responsible for lifting the leg are weak. These muscles are located in the hip region and are essential for your mobility. Now there is something few people know: walking does not strengthen these muscles enough. That is why many people walk every day but still struggle to climb stairs or get into a car. Now imagine strengthening exactly this function. Lifting your leg with control, strength, and stability. That is exactly what the knee lift exercise does. Now let's move to execution. Hold on to a chair or a stable support. Lift one knee up to hip height, or as high as you comfortably can. Hold for 1 second at the top. Then lower it slowly. Repeat the movement alternating legs. And here is the secret: it is not speed, it is control. Now get ready, because the continuation will show how to progress this exercise and improve your results. Now there is something that transforms this simple exercise into an extremely powerful tool for your mobility: how you progress with it. Because at the beginning, lifting your knee may seem easy, but when done with control, it activates deep muscles that are usually inactive. And these are exactly the muscles that protect your body from falls. One of the most effective ways to progress is to increase the control time at the top of the movement. Instead of just lifting and lowering, hold for 2 or 3 seconds. This increases muscle activation and improves balance. Another way to progress is to reduce support. At first, you can hold firmly, but over time, try using just one finger or no support at all. This challenges your body even more and improves your stability. Now let's talk about mistakes, because they can limit your results. The first mistake is lifting the knee too quickly. Without control, the muscle does not work properly. Another common mistake is leaning your body backward while lifting the leg. This reduces the effort from the hip and decreases the benefit of the exercise. Now imagine applying this exercise correctly every day. Your steps become more stable, you lift your feet more easily, and avoid tripping. And this drastically reduces the risk of falls.